Hopefully that helps. Let's find out. Can you guys hear me okay now? Yeah, I'm trying to fix it. Hold on, bear with me. Does this sound a little better, guys, or is this worse? Okay, we're better now. We're good? All right, I figured it out. Sorry about that. So my camera quality is going to go down. So let me turn a light on, actually, because I figured out what the problem was, and that was my camera connected to, like, I have a webcam and additional camera so I don't look like this. So now I have to just look like a gremlin, and you guys are just going to have to deal with that. Anyway, I'm glad we can hear that. I'm glad we got it figured out. Sorry about that, guys. Today's topic, let's get back into it, ghosting. A lot of people don't realize that this has a major, major issue in mental health as well, and the effects that it has on people. So I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm actually kind of upset about that because my old computer didn't have a built-in camera, so I had to use, my webcam, and now I can't even use it. All that money I paid for that? I'm kidding. Oh, thanks, guys. For anybody who's coming up as Facebook user, and by the way, thank you guys for helping me out with the audio. Thank you for a compliment, but you have to allow StreamYard to show your comments so that we can see you and who you are. But thank you. So what is ghosting? Let's start there. Ghosting is the practice of ending all communication and contact with another person without any kind of apparent warning or reason, and no justification, and then ignoring any and all contact they try to give after. So any attempts they try to reach you or anything like that, you're ignoring them, you're flagging them, and you're not bothered. Now, it is okay to ghost, but only in certain situations. And understand when I get into this that these are my viewpoints and these are my perspective, and you are absolutely welcome to come tell me about myself. If you would like to join the live, send me a message. I'll send you the link. Last week, I did post the link publicly, and that blew up all the way in my face. So I'm not going to do that again because I'm still trying to edit that footage so that I can actually post it. But I'm not going to get into what happened. You guys should know if you weren't there, you should have been. Maybe not, because we were all a little bit disturbed after. But ghosting is ending all communication. Now, in a 2018 study, approximately 25% of men and women reported to have been ghosted in a romantic relationship. But ghosting does not just occur in a romantic relationship. It also can occur in friendships and with family. 22% admitted to have ghosted somebody else. Now, what really bothers me is that 25%. That is 1 out of 4 relationships they were ghosted in. But why do people ghost? Maybe we should get into that. Ghosting spares people from confrontation, taking responsibility, engaging in emotional labor of empathy. Basically, they don't want to take the time to deal with your feelings on the subject of them leaving, so they just go, which is never okay. But there's also other reasons that people may ghost. Let's get into it. Convenience. It's just more convenient to leave. They don't want to deal with you or the problem or whatever the situation is. So they just poof, disappear. Then you have loss of interest. If this was romantic or in a friendship way, they lost all interest in what you had to offer as a friend or any other reason. So they decided they were going to leave instead. I'm trying to move this closer. So far zoomed out. Number 3, negative interactions. And a lot of people don't realize this. When you are with somebody or you're friends with somebody and you guys constantly bicker or go back and forth, they're going to ghost you because they don't want to deal with all these negative interactions. You're just toxic and negative energy. Then you have safety. I've ghosted somebody personally for safety, and I'm highly against ghosting. If you feel that you're not safe or that this person isn't safe to be around, it is absolutely okay to cut ties and keep it pushing, period. Now, that's something you could send. I'll get into that in a second. I do have a guest coming in. Welcome to the chat again. If you want to introduce yourself for this week, of course.
I don't know what happened. Where'd she go?
invited you into the stream. It booted me out, of course. I'm sorry. I didn't know you weren't ready.
No, you're good.
I'll give you a minute.
I was like, oh, I got time.
So anyway, I got booted. Sorry. That was me. It's the mouse that I have. Before we get into our guest, she'll be in a minute. What are some signs you have that you are being ghosted? And feel free to jump into the comments if you think there's some things that I'm missing. I'm happy to hear about it. What are some signs you're being ghosted? Let's see. They regularly bail on your plans that you make, or they just kind of close them off without giving a reschedule or a reason, or they struggle to make commitments at all. Hey, let's hang out. Yeah, we'll do that soon. I hear that all the time. Yes, soon. Soon is not a response, people. It's not. Give a date and a time. We're saying next week, or hey, my month's kind of busy, maybe next month. At least that's something. If they're just telling you soon with no response, they're probably going to ghost you, or you're just never going to meet up. Then you have the next one, which is pulling up. They don't share the personal information. They won't tell you like where they're at, what area they're from, what do they do for a living, different kind of personal information, maybe social media in general. They won't allow you to join because they don't plan on keeping you around. This is being extra laggy today. Or they don't want you to meet their family and friends is another big one. If somebody doesn't want you to meet their family or friends, that means they don't have any intentions of keeping you around long term. So just write that down. The next one, like I said, disappear from social media, or you never had it to begin with. They don't want you to be around their friends, their family, people they know, so they're not going to add you to it. I did see your comment. I'll put you in 1 second. The last one is they rarely respond at all. If they're barely responding to you, they're not really interested in talking to you. So make sure you're noticing the signs if you're being ghosted, and don't be afraid to confront. Let's welcome our guest who's now ready. How you doing today, girl?
I'm doing good. I was stuffing my face with some dinner.
Or you didn't set up your audio right with your headphones. I had audio issues today too, so I can't hear anything you're saying.
Damn
it. So again, for anybody watching, if you have anything you want to add, let me know. Drop it in the comments. If you want to come in and tell me about myself on this Talk It Out Tuesday, feel free to send me a message and I will shoot you a link. And then you can join in. It's not an open one anymore because of last week, which my wonderful guest here will actually
no sound.
I still can't hear you now. My wonderful guest here was here last week when we all got assaulted via eyeballs. Yeah, so that's why we don't have open links anymore. If anybody gets the link as a heads up, you do not automatically get added to the stream. It will add you to the bottom part, and then I could put you in from there. But you don't panic if you get a link and you're not ready quite yet. I'll put you in. Just give me a thumbs up, and then you'll join in. So going back to getting ghosted, okay? And again, people ghost because it spares them confrontation. They don't have to deal with your emotions. They don't have to present empathy. They don't have to put themselves in your shoes because you don't exist to them anymore. Now, a major part of that and what people usually say is, hey, respect the dead. I don't agree. What are some signs that you could take or how to respond if you're getting ghosted is what's next. And remember, these are not just my perspective. These are also from Psychology Today. There is a doctor on there. His name is Jeremy S. Nicholson. He is great. He does have a page on Facebook, and I will add that to the comments later. He had some really great viewpoints on this. But to jump back into it, how do we respond? Number one, friendly check-in. Ask them what's going on. You know, either fix the problem or keep it pushing, you know. If they don't respond, it is what it is. But remember that when you're sending this message, you want to do it in a way that is genuine and nice. Let's put it that way. Genuine and friendly. So here's an example right here. I noticed that we haven't been talking as much lately. Is everything okay? Or, hey, haven't seen you online. Haven't gotten a response to my messages. What's going on? Are you okay? Try to look at it from somebody else's point of view, because sometimes somebody ghosting you has nothing to do with you. Honestly, that's about 95% of the time. So keep that in mind when it comes to ghosting. It really has nothing to do with you. It's mostly has to do with them. There's a couple reasons why additional that somebody will ghost you, and I will get into that in a second. I just want to go through what you should do if you are ghosted, and then I'll circle back. But examples like this are some things that you can say when you're doing that, reaching out to them. It's always good to try. Me personally, I can't leave anything undone, so I have to reach out and see what's going on. The second is a follow-up. If you don't get a response to your first one within, let's say, a couple days when they're normally a couple-hour responder, follow up. Hey, send you a message. Did you see it? Or if you're being left on red, you don't even have to do this step. You're just going to jump to the next one. Find a way to move on. Let it go. In this case, this is where you will respect the dead. Some people won't even do the follow-up or the friendly check-in, and that's totally okay too. You have to do what's best for your mental and emotional health when it comes to ghosting, because ghosting can have very deep psychological effects. We'll get into that too. More reasons that people ghost that I forgot to put up. This one I've noticed is mostly men. They will make themselves scarce to look more attractive. Fellas, that does not work. You do not look more attractive. You look like you have commitment issues, and you look like you don't even have time for a friend or a date or whatever situation that we're trying to put, whatever part of your life we're trying to insert ourselves in. We no longer feel like we should be a part of that because you made us feel that way by making yourself scarce. Or the next part, you're too busy. And that happens to all of us. We all get busy with our lives. There's friends that I have to pencil in weeks or months in advance just to see them. That's part of being grown. But you have to make sure that you're taking time for the people that love you or the people that want to be in your life, because it's rare. People being for you can be rare. The last one I have is they are just not that into you, whether it be a friend, a romantic interest, or friend or family member. Honestly, it's sad, but it's true. They just might not be that into you. And that, again, still has nothing to do with you. It's just who you are. So the effects of ghosting, because most people don't realize how deep of an effect this can have on people. Number one, their self-esteem. And I know as soon as I say that, there's probably at least 3 to 5 people going, it's self-esteem. Yes, it is self-esteem. It's how you feel about yourself. And if somebody just disappears off the face of the earth that you had a connection with, you're going to feel like it's something you did. That's when you have women who are emotionally driven creatures, because we are scrolling back through conversations, trying to figure out where the fuck we messed it up. What did we do wrong? What happened here? We're trying like detectives to find out where in this scenario we fucked up, because that's automatically how our brains operate. Next, doubts. We now have doubts, the people who are ghosted, that any relationship is going to survive, whether, again, it be romantic or not. We now have doubts that that person is not going to ghost us. We have doubts that that person is going to stick around because of the tone the last person sent by ghosting. And, of course, depression. It happens a lot. Now we're in our bed. Now we're crying, especially when it comes to the romantic ghosting. You made a connection with somebody for however long you're talking to them, and then they just decided that you were not worth an explanation. That's a terrible feeling. And again, we circle back to it with mistrust. It's the same thing as the doubts. We have doubts that people stay around, and even when they say they do, we don't trust them because we've been ghosted. So make sure when you're in this situation, you're following these steps. They are important to stick around. We have comments coming in. I'm trying to read them at the same time. I have ADHD, so you'll see my eyes bounce around a lot. I'm not sure who said it's true, but thank you for watching and thank you for agreeing. I'm trying here. So beyond that, and before I bring my guest back in, because I think she fixed her audio, there is something called submarining, and it's really something that I want to bring to the forefront, and more people need to know about it. So, what is submarining? Submarining is a form of ghosting where somebody drops off the face of the earth, but then they come back in touch months later. Now, there are some exceptions to this rule where it would be okay to submarine somebody, and that's if you're genuinely busy. Oh, George, hey George, thanks for watching. People get genuinely busy. We're all adults. It happens. It's part of life. But if you ghost somebody right before then, it's not really okay. there are things that you can do to let people know, hey, I got a really busy month coming up. You may not hear from me much. Things like that. It doesn't take much. Or, hey, I just need some space right now. I'm going through some things. That happens a lot too. Mental health is important, and it's not our responsibility to, number one, console somebody who doesn't want it, or number two, smother them. When you smother somebody, you're definitely going to get ghosted. If they told you they need a break and you won't give them that break, they probably won't talk to you again. But when it comes to submarining, it is very, very toxic for your mental health. This is like a narcissist's number one tool here. People with narcissism or narcissistic personality disorder cling to this to where they have that power, because that's what ghosting really does. It gives people power, perceived power over you, because it affects your emotions. Now they know they can leave whenever they want and they can come back, and you're welcoming them with open arms. Submarining. Make sure you write that down, ladies. Put it in your book, fellas. Put it in your hoe handbooks, because it is very important to understand why this is not okay. So whenever my guest gives me a thumbs up, I'll bring her back in, because she did have some valid points on our Instagram live. I do want to add this in for anybody watching. I will be going live on Instagram at 1 p.m. every Tuesday for Talk It Out Tuesdays. And then I will be going live on Facebook and YouTube around 7:30, 7 o'clock, 7:30 every week. There's my thumbs up. Let's bring her out.
Can you hear me now?
Hello, welcome back.
Can you hear me now?
Did you fix your audio? No, we can't hear you. I think it's your headset.
No, because I
it's your
turned it
headset.
off.
Go into your settings in StreamYard and fix where your audio is. See, for me earlier, my issue was I plugged in my webcam, and the audio that you were getting was picking up from my webcam instead. I will go in and fix it and disable all that for later. But like I said, when I first joined, guys, I just set up my Chromebook, and I have no idea how to work it. So bear with me. And again, if there's anybody who wants to join the conversation, no, I still can't hear you. If there's anybody who wants to join the conversation, let me know. I'll send you a link. But remember, the topic, because we're sticking on it, is ghosting. So I personally feel attacked by ghosting. It's a me thing. It bothers me because it's like, we're adults, we're grown. Communication is key no matter what kind of relationship it is, whether it's friendly or not. Why did you not even think you should give a reason? We're all adults. Even if you say, hey, you're a piece of shit, at least you said something. Now I know why you're gone. Or maybe here's a better example. When you go on somebody's Facebook page, because you're like, wow, I haven't seen them in my feed in a while. And then you go to their page and it says add friend. Damn, it feels like an attack, right? And it's the same thing with ghosting. It feels like an attack. So let's see if I don't think I can fix her audio from here. Yeah, nope, I can't. But we'll try again. We're trying to get her in here. Hey, it says your mic's working, but it's not.
You can't hear me still?
I can't hear you. I don't know if it's you or me. I can't hear you. So if anybody in the comments wants to let me know, I'll see if I can find out on my own. It might be me. Bear with me 1 second. Let me find out.
Let me try my laptop.
All right, so apparently it is me. It's not you. So I don't know why mine's not working, but I can hear you on the live. So you're good to talk. Let everybody know about yourself while I fix this on my end and find out what is going on.
Yeah, that's crazy, because I'm sitting here. I'm like, my earbud isn't connected to my iPad. Like, maybe it's my iPad. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, I have a new iPad. I'm not sure. But yes, so I'm Jasmine. People call me Voodoo Queen, Jazz Queen, either way. I am a retired crisis intervention counselor. I don't do that anymore. Really hefty stuff. But I met Canoodle, or are you going by Christy here? I met her a few weeks back, and definitely enjoy the project that she's doing and everything. So, yeah, ghosting is a thing. It's a thing. I don't know if she can still hear me or not. No, she's still trying to fix it. Yeah, so some things with the ghosting.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you playing through my phone so I can hear you in between because it is not working for some reason here.
Got you. That's weird. Well, so when she touched on submarining, that's something like I haven't personally experienced people ghosting me in like a romantic sense, like romantic interest. But like friendships, I've experienced a lot of ghosting. Whether it be I throw up a boundary and I'm just like, hey, can't do this, or this is how things have to be, and then it's like, okay, well, we're not talking anymore. Or it's more on the sense of I don't have anything to offer you now, like I don't have anything to give to you. So whether it's a ride here, some extra money here, like whatever it is, I don't have that. So now ghosting comes into play. As for romantic interests, I get submarined a lot by romantic interests. So like disappearing for a few months and then like popping back in, like, hey, what you doing, big head? And I'm like, no, no. Just no. And it's funny because I have actually 2 submariners in my phone right now. One is saved as immediately no. The next one is real quick no. So that just shows you.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who saves people in their phone like that. I don't save people that I don't talk to or keep on a regular basis as a normal name. Like I have one, his name is like Broken Annoying. But because I have to keep them key indicators for me just so I know. So I'm glad. I do have my speaker set up now, so I think we're good on that end.
So you can hear me? Perfect. Yeah, I'll just mute myself so that way it doesn't like echo for you. And I think that'll work. I think we got this, guys. I think it takes 2 genius minds. But yeah, I feel like personally when you had asked like the signs of like, so like my romantic interests, I'm pretty sure they were narcissists. I tend to attract them like flies to shit. Oh, that's a bad word. So don't remember.
Hey, you can curse. We're adults here.
Okay.
We're adults. You can curse.
So yeah, so I tend to attract them a lot, and I don't know what it is with that, but they kind of come around and they love bomb, right? So they're like talking to you every single day. They're like responding quick, everything, and then it's just out of nowhere. I guess because you're now a boring person in their brain, even though you're the same person. And like that was like one thing I had to learn like a few years back was it's not me, it's that person. Because I used to sit there, like you talked about, like trying to be a detective, trying to find out what I did wrong. What could I improve? Like, do I need to lose weight? Do I need to get a 6-pack? Like, what is it? Why? Like, I feel like I'm pretty interesting, but they feel like they're not going to talk to me anymore. So, but then they like come back, right? They come back at like the worst time. Like you've finally moved on. You've stopped asking questions and you're like, okay, well, now I'm going to go pursue someone else or I'm living my best life. And they're like, hey, big head. And it's like,
not the big head, though. Not the big head.
It is. And like, and you know, a lot of people tell me I have a very like rounded, fat, chubby face. And I'm like, I know. It runs in the family. Like that's
Same.
And it's like, so I stopped doing that. And when I realized a pattern, like right now, Real Quick No was just added. Real Quick No was a romantic interest for a while. But then I realized Real Quick No was doing this pattern. Like it was like every day, like, I mean, every single day, 5 hours a day, like we were just like this. And then it's like slowly started to trickle out. And then it stopped, like the good morning, beautiful stopped. The how was your day? What are you doing? Can I call you? Like things like that just started to trickle and fade out till I go like a week or 2 without hearing from Real Quick No. And then it's like out of nowhere, hey, what are you doing? No, that's a real.
It almost feels like a merry-go-round, doesn't it? Where like you have this person and you're really close to them and then they kind of disappear for a while and then they pop back in and you guys get back into contact and it's same old, like nothing changed. And then poof, right back again to the same thing where they disappear and come back and disappear. And it's a power thing, like I said earlier to some people. They have that power over you. They know they can do whatever, and you're going to accept them back with no issue. So you just get on this carousel and you keep going, and you don't even have to pay admission more than once. Absolutely free 99. So you're muted.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, I think the real hard part is to finally deny access to yourself to someone. Like telling them no. Like, you don't respect me, you don't treat me right. No, I think that's like the hardest part. Like, I struggle with it too sometimes because I am a hoe. So so like my private part will tell me it's okay. It's okay. Just say yes. Go see him. Go see him. And I'm like, I know I shouldn't even respond. I should just allow the dead to stay dead. But I'm like, I really wasn't doing anything this weekend anyways. So, just terrible.
I cannot.
So I think that's like really important is when they ghost you, you are not a seance leader. Do not come with a fucking Ouija board trying to respond to that "you up" text. Don't do it. I know I'm probably going to do it about 4 more times before I actually not do it, but I'm telling you, don't do it, because do as I say, not as I do.
I know that's right, girl. I know that's right. And first of all, there's some hoes in this house, okay? So we get you. We understand. But the problem with accepting people back who treat you that way is you're letting them know that you're not worth being treated better. You don't believe that you're worth more. And that's not okay, because we are top tier bitches, okay? Period. Everybody, top tier. That's how you should think about yourself. And when you allow somebody to treat you like that, and when you allow somebody to behave that way when it comes to you, you're not even setting your own boundaries. And if you are, you're not following them. And that's important to have. You need to have boundaries with people. It's not about respecting the dead. And it's not, it's not about being snooty about things. It's about, this is going to make me feel like shit before, during, or after. And I don't want to feel like shit. I deserve more than that, and I deserve better. So you give yourself better. That's what's important. And again, anybody jumping in, if you want to join the live, you have something to say, let me know and I'll send you a link. Just post it in the comments. So I have ghosted one person, but for me, it was an issue of safety. I did not feel safe with this person around me, talking to me, any of that. So it was very heavy on the block, do not disturb. Blocking is usually a no for me, unless it's part of the 3-day block rule. And that's just for toxic men. Usually it's reserved. The 3-day block rule is important. It's a valid tool to use. Okay. For anybody who does not know, the 3-day block rule is when somebody is not treating you the way you think that they should, you block them, and you unblock them for 3 days, because you block them for 3 days. Anybody contacting somebody for 3 days straight and getting no response will stop contacting. So at that point, you will then unblock them. Now you have them in your phone for 3 to 6 months down the line when you're bored again. Yes, that could be considered submarining, but it usually only happens once and it's not a continued behavior. So it's a hit or miss whether or not it's the same.
I think for me, when I block, like, I've ghosted people. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, in my real toxic days, I was like queen block, disappear. I ghosted my neighbor. That's how successful I was at ghosting people. This man always either didn't see my car or saw my car, but never could see me. I was ghosted. Like, I would sit out there, I would look across the joint from my blinds, see if his lights were on or nothing. I'm like, all right, I'm leaving my house now. I ghosted the fuck out that man. And then I submarined him, right? So after about 6 months of this man being blocked and disappeared on, I'm like, hey, big head, because he lives across the street. So again, I'm a serial hoe. I'm like, all right, let me go.
I'm gonna go get it, because now all my roster, like, he's up, like, he's next at this point. So I gotta unblock him. I gotta get in good gracious, so that way by Saturday I have some. So I've done it, and I've done it for less reasons. Like, I don't even know what the fuck I ghosted him for. Oh, he knew me too well. I ghosted him because, again, I was real toxic. I had like a lot of shit I needed to work through. So I've done that to about like 5 or 6 individuals. Like, it could be a Tuesday, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna block them. And that's what I used to do. And then now, as an adult, now that my frontal lobe has finished developing, I'm like, maybe that's not the best way to go about things. Like, I should probably have these conversations. Sometimes that goes real bad when you have the conversation. Like, I am one to not like confrontation. So like, when I have blocked somebody for their own behaviors, it's because I've tried to have a conversation about my boundaries, like how, like, my requirements for their presence in my life. And if they still don't want to honor that, I block them on everything, across everything, because it's like, I told you, you decided to continue to be a dickhead. So you don't deserve my life, to be in my life. So I feel like there's reasonable, like, that technically isn't a ghosting, because you technically did warn them, like, hey, right? That's like not technically a ghosting, because you said, hey, motherfucker.
I mean, if you told them, like, hey, you're a piece of shit and I don't want you around anymore, I feel like that's valid. You did give them a heads up. And that's really all they should ask for. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, nobody owes you an explanation for anything, anytime, anything. It doesn't matter what it is, including ghosting. Is it kind of insensitive? Absolutely. But it is a fact. We do not owe explanations for anything that we do or say. But remember also, when it comes to ghosting, which for anybody joining in again, that is the topic for today. You want to make sure you give people some kind of something, even if you lie about it. Like, this is the one time I'm going to say it's okay to lie. Just say, hey, this ain't for me. I'm out. That's it. You can even send them like a Snapchat, you making the peace sign saying don't contact again. And that's still better than ghosting and not saying anything and just completely dropping off the face of the earth. So make sure you're putting yourself in other people's shoes when it comes to that. Even if you think those shoes are full of shit or that person is a piece of shit, give them the compassion and the empathy that they deserve. Everybody deserves to feel like they were understood. So when you don't, you lead people into depression. You lead people into feeling like they did something wrong. Now you're wasting their time because they're sitting there going through messages, they're going through call logs, they're going through everything to try to figure out what they did wrong. When in reality, who knows what happened? Maybe you were talking to someone and told somebody that you wanted to talk to more if it's romantic. You just didn't say anything and just deleted them. Instead of saying, hey, this ain't for me, I'm out. Just like I said. Or even in a friendly situation, you've seen that person and they're kind of going downhill and you don't want that energy around you. Just say, hey, I'm doing things differently right now. I don't really have time for this, or I can't be there for you like you need. This isn't working for me. And then you just leave. You don't even offer, if you don't want to, any of that other information. Just say, this is not working for me. This is not for me. 5 words. 5 words is all you have to say to somebody, and then it's not even considered ghosting. They may call you a dickhead, but who cares? At that point, who cares? You don't want the person in your life, so their opinion of you doesn't hinder or hurt you in any kind of way. So that's an important thing to realize. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. You know, for me, an example, I had somebody I talked to every day for 2 years. I considered this person my best friend, and they ghosted me completely. No reason, nothing. And that led me to think, like, what the fuck did I do wrong? Which, to be fair, ladies and gentlemen, was probably a pretty extensive list. But if that person had said, I don't want to talk to you anymore, or, hey, I just have too much going on, I don't have time for this right now, it would have been a little bit different. It would have saved that time, that feeling, and that energy on my end, because he would have just said, you know, you're a piece of shit, see ya. And I'd have been like, yeah, you're right. And then moved on. It makes it easier for people to cope if you at least say goodbye. Nobody likes goodbyes that are unexpected, or even the ones we don't get to say. So that's my viewpoint on that. Do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And just make sure like you always keep in the back of your mind, like it literally was not you when you got ghosted. Don't be like me. Don't drive up to their house and try to figure it out. Like, again, like I said, my frontal lobe was not developed fully, so I can't be held responsible as an adult. Okay, maybe I could. No,
You can. You can.
only in
You're
court.
muted.
Yeah, only in court can I be held responsible as an adult.
I think you got that a little messed up. I think you got that a little messed up because in court you can be tried as an adult, but in all aspects you could be held as an adult. Okay, to an adult standard. Let's look at it this way, people. Communication is key. Communication is everything, even if it is negative communication. A lot of the times when it comes to ghosting, people do it because they don't want confrontation. Fellas, I'm looking at you. It's mostly you. All right. When it comes to ghosting in the whole, it's usually men. Okay. It's not to say women are innocent. Some women, you toxic motherfuckers, are ghosting too. I don't agree with it on any level. For women, it is usually in a romantic sense that they will ghost somebody. And this is just pure out of my research and my, what I've seen. For men, they will ghost you for any reason. They will ghost a job. They will ghost their barber. They will ghost they will ghost their church. They will ghost anybody for any reason, but they won't give what that reason is. Fellas, we can do better and you should. We are all adults. We can handle it. Let us know. Even again, if you're saying, hey, I don't want you around because you're kind of shitty, we will understand that because we are adults. You're communicating it. Are we going to ask you what makes us shitty? Maybe, but you're not entitled to answer that. You don't owe an explanation. So I'll hand it over to you. You look like you have something to say. Oh, she froze. Hold on, she's going to load back up. Give it a second. She's kind of buffering. We got the spinning circle of doom. That's always nice. Yeah. Mute it.
I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah, I lost service there. So I missed what you were saying.
So basically what I said was, again, we are all adults. We can handle it. Even if you say, hey, I don't want you around, but give no valid reason. We don't owe anybody an explanation, but you should at least grant them, the compassion in saying, I don't want this anymore before you just hightail it on down the road. That's what I was saying.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. Because one, you're not going to mess with somebody else's mental health, but I firmly 100% believe it is okay to ghost a narcissist. 1000%. They are 100%. You're not going to hurt their feelings. They've probably been ghosted like 20 times today, like alone. So you're not going to, I would say ghost a narcissist 100%. If you're in physical danger of a person, your safety's at risk, ghost them. But if you just having disputes or the energy's not vibing, then at least tell them. Like I've had to tell people, like, hey, like, and it's not I was ghosting them or trying to block them. I was just like, hey, this relationship isn't serving me, and not like a romantic, like a friendship. Like it's not serving me. Vibes aren't vibing. I need positive energy in my life, and you're not giving that. Go do some healing. We can revisit this in a few years. Never did, because I guess she's still mad about it. But at least I told her, like, yo, you real negative. Like, I can't wake up mad. Like, that's, I don't understand it. So I'm like very sensitive about like negative energy around me. So that's kind of like, I don't like, so I have trauma, right? And I've ghosted a man just for yelling in traffic. Like, I'm in the car with him and he started yelling, like, not at me, like a road rage kind of deal. And I blocked him. And while he probably was not a physical danger to me, that's how I felt in that moment, because I'm like, that's an anger issue, and anger issues make me feel very unsafe. So I would say, yeah, I probably should have talked to him about that. But again, like I said, I was toxic.
So, to be fair, again, when it comes to safety, there's never really a reason you have to give to why you cut somebody off or you don't talk to them anymore or you ghost them. That is your safety. You deserve that. And that's really it at the end of the day. When it comes to somebody yelling in traffic, that's your boundary. You're holding tight to your boundary. There's no reason you should feel bad about that. Oh, well, maybe I should have. No, fuck him. That was your boundary. Now, to be fair, if you hadn't said anything about that and then you just ghosted, I'll agree that maybe you could have confronted the issue, and try to solve the issue before you just were like, see ya. But when it comes to your boundaries and people not following them, and people, please understand who are listening and watching that when I say boundaries, that does not just mean romantic. That means your friends, your family, your teacher, your pastor. If they are not respecting your boundaries, you need to go. You need to respect your boundaries, because if you're allowing people to not listen to you and you're allowing people to invalidate how you feel and you're allowing people to disregard completely your boundaries, you don't respect yourself. And there's no reason to have boundaries because you're not following them anyway. So what's the point, right?
100%. And no, I did not tell him that was a boundary. I was like 19, and I was like, I don't know. Like at that time, I was still learning my personal triggers. So at that time, I just felt like very uncomfortable. I told him like, hey, I'm not feeling well. Just take me home. Because like that triggered me. And after a while, like now I will communicate. One of my past situationships, he had like raised his voice. He didn't yell, but he raised his voice. And so it went from a normal talking tone to a little bit louder, and I was immediately triggered. And instead of blocking him or punching him in his face, I said, hey, I'm going to need you to lower your tone and your intensity when you speak to me, because I don't deal with that. And so ever since then, even when he's really frustrated, he will speak very low and calmly through the whole situation, because I do not handle somebody yelling at me very well.
That's entirely hold on. There we go. That's entirely a trauma response, because I am the same way. I have sensory issues. I do not like loud. When people yell at me, I tend to trigger, and I have psychosis. It's good for no one around if I trigger very heavily. It is important to me when I say enough or that's done. Now, mind you, I don't do it with the hand because that's disrespectful. Because for me, if somebody puts their hand, bitch, it's a no. And like, that's when I turn into my mother. And again, still good for nobody. But that's when I say, hey, enough, like, stop. This needs to stop. We're done. It's done. Either revisit it later or whatever. But the yelling is a no from me too. Communication, people. The louder you are does not mean you're going to get your point across any easier. It is all about how you say what you're saying. And if you're yelling, your message is lost in your mess. Write that down. Okay? I say that to my son all the time. I'm going to put it in here too. Your message is lost in your mess when you're yelling. Same thing with kids with tantrums. If you're throwing a tantrum in the store, tell your kids, your message is lost in your mess. I have no idea what you're trying to tell me because you're acting like a fool. So I'm typing that in right now. But when it comes to ghosting as well, it's the same thing. Your message is lost in your mess. So whatever you were trying to teach me by ghosting me or whatever you were feeling, it's lost because you got messy about it instead of being an adult and communicating. So while I type that in, I'll give it back to you, add something in. I think you're frozen again. She keeps buffering.
It's been all day with me in this internet, hasn't it? So I was saying it's very important that we also, like you do with your son, explain communication at a young age. My son was throwing tantrums, and I was like, I can't do this. So I taught him coping skills, and he used to sit there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gonna happen. And he'll be like, I need to cope, and he'll like excuse himself at like 3. Excuse himself from the room to go deal with coping skills. Because the first time that child fell out screaming on the floor, I was like, oh, we gonna figure this out. I can't deal with that. So yes, your message is lost in your mess because you screaming at somebody. I, for one, am not listening to someone screaming at me. I'm probably like, so I do two things, one of two things. It depends on who the person is. I will shut down, say nothing, go into a little shell, or I'm coming at you like a spider monkey. So yelling at me is it's not productive, and it's really not productive for anyone in any situation to yell. If you yell at somebody at work, I guarantee you're probably going to get fired. So we should learn how to communicate effectively. Even if you say, per my last text message, which I have, and that's like a professional way to say, fuck you. Yeah, like that's a professional way. Like communication is everything.
For me, my favorite is with all due respect, which is none. Whenever I say something in an email or in a message and I say, with all due respect, please understand, ladies and gentlemen, there is no respect given or received in that message, okay? It is all lack of respect right there. Your message is lost in your mess is an important thing. I might even get that tattooed, because people are messy. We are messy, especially women. We are emotionally driven creatures. You'll hear me say it a million times because it's true. And that is why most of the time men are the ones that do the ghosting, because men are not emotionally driven creatures. They don't see the big deal. They are not even giving you a second thought. Meanwhile, after you get ghosted as women, we're again scrolling through messages and looking through what we did wrong and trying to be a detective in something that has no mystery. We're Scooby Ganging the shit out of something that doesn't have an issue to Scooby Gang because it had nothing to do with us, like you said. When people get ghosted, 99.9% of the time, it has nothing to do with us and everything to do with the person who is ghosting. So there are two things you can do. Here it is. You can mend it or you can end it, period. You can try to mend the situation by trying to find out what's going on, or you could just, like we said earlier, respect the dead and peace. End it. It's gone. Let it go. So that's all I have to add for that. I do have another thing to say later because we are going to end in a few minutes, but I'll give you another minute if you need it to.
Yes, mend it or end it is a good thing to stand by in your brain. Because with my last submariner, I found myself in like July of this year doing that scroll through my phone thing, like forgetting all my training in my brain not to do that. It's not my fault, but I was like really feeling this person. So I was like, where did it go wrong? And I'm sitting on the phone with my friend, and we're on the phone for like an hour as I go through these messages, and I'm like, I think I found it. And then I'm like, girl, what is you doing? This is not about you at all. Like, you can sit there and blame yourself because, again, that happens to a lot of times be a trauma response, is to blame yourself. Because at one point, somebody was telling you this is your fault, whatever it was. And so now you're going to take that and internalize it and kind of project it onto everyone else. So I'm like, no, you are doing the thing. Don't do that thing. This is not you. You're perfect. No, I wouldn't say perfect. But in that moment, when you're trying to find the reason behind the ghosting, I want you to call yourself perfect. I want you to be like, my shit don't stink. I want you to be like, what's a really cool thing to be? I'm a freaking unicorn.
Top tier. Top tier.
Top tier. Okay? I am a top tier hoe, and you don't deserve this. You've got to go. There you go. There we go.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. We should all look at ourselves like we are top tier, okay? Even if your mustache grows in a little uneven, or even if you're not the skinniest or prettiest girl in the world, it doesn't matter because to yourself, you are top tier. And if you don't treat yourself or think of yourself as top tier, it's going to leak into all of your relationships, romantic, friendships, family, all of it. It's going to spill. It's like a poison that spreads when you don't love yourself. People can tell, and guess what? They're not going to love you either because you're going to allow them to do shit that you would not allow if you remembered that you were top tier. So I want to add this in. Make a decision, period. When it comes to ghosting, whether you're the one that did the ghosting or somebody else ghosted you, make a decision. If you don't get a response when you try to reach out after, or you get some kind of shrug off response, it kind of makes them look more like a dickhead than a friend, then your decision is easy. Clearly, they lack the conscientiousness to be a good partner. They also lack it to be a good friend or an understanding one, and it's time to move on. Also, they're probably too busy for your friendship or relationship anyway, and if that's really what you're looking for, then you're probably going to want somebody with time or somebody that's going to be able to invest it in you. So you might be better off looking for somebody who's more compatible with what you are looking for, whatever that may be. And also, if they are acting scarce or making bad decisions that you don't necessarily agree with, or you're putting off their bad decisions, then you don't respect yourself. They don't respect you. Move on. There's also one factor that I want to put in here, and I've noticed this, and it's more when it comes to dating. You ever see that movie, He's Just Not That Into You? That's a real thing, people, okay? And that's a lot of the reason that men ghost, because they're just not that into you. So again, it dials back to it's not really about you. There's no way to possibly fix that. They're just not into you. So the only question is whether or not for any of these situations, you're willing to put the effort in to make things work, mend it, or just end it. And how much time you're going to spend on yourself after is also very important. So because we're about to end here, I'll give you the floor for a couple minutes to tell everybody where they can find you and give your little closing thoughts. And then I'll give mine and we'll end it.
Okay, so you can find me on all platforms, including OnlyFans. Yes. Voodoo Queen J on Instagram, Noir Magique on Facebook, Twitter, Noir Magique as well. So I have a link in my bio. You can actually just click on it and see all the things. Definitely follow me and all that things. Try not to ghost people. Let's not be toxic. I might make jokes on my Instagram where it's like stay toxic, or on my Twitter, but like I mean it like in the way of don't do what I'm telling you to do. Don't do it. I actually am starting like a whole different group where it's like about healing and getting to work on the inside. So definitely follow me and let's play around and have fun, because I'm all about laughs and giggles.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining my live again. I really appreciate it. You always so much valid information. Some of us a little toxic. I'm not going to pretend it's not, but you know what? We're all different pieces of shit in some way, myself included. I've been pretty toxic myself, so I can't say nothing about that. But thank you so much for your input. I'll drop you down. I'll be with you in a minute. I'm going to give my final thoughts before I end this thing. So to sum it up, ghosting is when you cut somebody off, whatever the kind of relationship it is, whether it's work, personal, or family. You just cut them off and you give no reason, and you kind of don't give them any closure. Closure is important for everyone. So you have to choose whether you're going to end things or mend things on both sides. Communication is key. And most people use ghosting as a power move. It's the same thing women do when we give the silent treatment. Ladies, that's not okay either. Communication is important. You don't want to be the reason that somebody feels like shit about themselves or that somebody's questioning their self-worth. You don't want to be that reason. Mental health is just as important as emotional health. And ghosting is emotional abuse, people. Okay? You don't want to be abusive. You can do something very easy, as it's as easy as saying is, hey, we're kind of drifting apart. I'm moving on. I wish you the best. That's it. That's all it takes. And you could save somebody hours of tears or, again, digging through that phone. You don't want to be that reason. Treat people with compassion. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And make sure, most importantly, to end this, that your message is not lost in your mess. It doesn't have to be a confrontation to end a friendship or relationship. That's entirely up to you. But with that being said, I hope I taught you guys some valuable information. I will be back next week. To end it, I will say this again, too. I will be going live every Tuesday on Instagram at 1 p.m. with Talk It Out Tuesdays, and then following it at between 7 and 7:30 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. So there's no way to miss it. My name is Christy, for those who don't know, and make sure you go to mentallyKillproject.org to see what we have going on and to see a release calendar for the interviews that I've done, because I do release one a week. So with that being said, I'll see you guys Thursday for Ho on the Go. Have a good day and be kind.